And who is that?
Terence Crawford. That's it. You know, I'm 41-0 for a reason. You gotta have 4 arms.
I know. I know.
And 6 eyes.
Our job is to line it up. And us fighters, we're warriors. We always want to fight the best.
Floyd Mayweather has sent a clear warning toward Crawford following the ongoing debate over who would come out on top. Floyd explained that his message is not about disrespect, but about warning someone from chasing an outcome that may never exist. According to him, Crawford could be pursuing a ghost, because the version of Mayweather that ruled the sport stepped away on his own terms, leaving no room for anyone to come back later and rewrite that legacy.
And me versus anybody, I'm gonna always say me.
Okay.
Come on now.
Floyd explained to Smith that boxing is not simply about who appears stronger at the present moment, but about who truly owned the spotlight when it counted the most. And from his perspective, with Crawford now moving into his mid-30s, the timing has passed for a matchup that should have happened earlier, back when it would have generated the highest interest and the biggest numbers.
Who do you think wins in a fight, you or Prime Floyd?
Me.
No questions?
Why would you think that I would say Floyd? You know, that's one of my favorite fighters. But yeah, nah.
That statement came during an intense discussion on Stephen A. Smith's platform, where Floyd found himself face-to-face with Crawford in a rare exchange that instantly captured the attention of the boxing world. Mayweather remained composed, but his words carried real weight as he made it clear to Crawford that winning titles or defeating opponents he never faced would not change his legacy, keeping the focus firmly on his own era while subtly reminding Crawford that he showed up too late for the chance to share the ring with him.
I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose because now society has shaped things to where if a fighter lose, they talk so bad about, oh, he's a bum. I knew he was overrated. Oh, y'all hyped him up, and now they gotta hear it. But back in the day, they didn't have social media. You know what I mean? So all that wasn't in their face.
But this situation goes beyond two fighters speaking past one another, because it reflects how fans, fighters, and analysts are now clearly dividing themselves on opposite sides of the debate. Even active fighters like Ryan Garcia have stepped into the discussion, adding fuel to the fire. Garcia, who is known for never holding his tongue, recently took aim at Mayweather during an appearance on Ring Magazine's Inside the Ring. When former NFL running back LaShawn McCoy claimed that no one had changed boxing the way Floyd Mayweather did, Garcia quickly interrupted, saying it was in a bad way. Garcia has repeatedly argued that Floyd didn't just dominate boxing in the ring, but perfected the business side by choosing the right moments, accusing him of facing opponents when it suited him and waiting until names like Pacquiao or others were no longer at their peak. According to Garcia, Floyd rarely fought anyone truly in their prime, suggesting that his undefeated record owed as much to calculated matchmaking as it did to skill, and from Garcia's point of view, that mindset shifted the sport, with fighters after Floyd focusing more on protecting their perfect records than chasing the most dangerous challenges.
Everybody acting like Bud is the second coming of Mayweather. Y'all got the game fucked up. Mayweather actually didn't get hit. Bud gets hit by dudes that, like, who on Bud's resume is an equivalent of someone on Floyd's resume? So that's it right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, Floyd not getting hit by elites, Bud getting hit by non-elites, and somehow y'all think Canelo not about to touch.
This is where Max Kellerman has added his own perspective to the discussion, and as one of the more respected voices in boxing media, he explained why Crawford could be seen as having a stronger legacy argument than Floyd, depending on the angle you take. Kellerman pointed out that Mayweather was selective about the timing of his fights, particularly after moving beyond lightweight, and while his resume includes bigger names, many fans remember that he avoided certain matchups at specific moments, whereas Crawford, despite having a thinner resume in some respects, consistently showed a willingness to fight anyone at any time, which Kellerman believes carries real weight with how people judge greatness.
Floyd versus Triple G. Listen, man, Floyd didn't fight him, and Floyd is an all-time great. But what a missed opportunity. You got Crawford going from 135 and talking about fighting Canelo at 168. It's kind of the same.
And that is where the real debate sits, resume versus intent. Mayweather's record is filled with elite names like De La Hoya, Pacquiao, Cotto, Hatton, Marquez, Mosley, Gatti, Corrales, and others. But critics such as Garcia and Kellerman argue that the timing of those fights dulls their impact. They point out that Pacquiao was older and noticeably slower by 2015, Mosley was 38 and coming off a long layoff, Cotto had already absorbed years of punishment, and Canelo was made to fight at a catchweight when he was only 23. Floyd still won every one of those bouts, but for his critics, the asterisk attached to them never fully fades.
Looking back at like Floyd's career, like him coming up in the era that he came up in, he had all them champions that he was able to fight, and that's what led him to be so great. You know, because he fought the most champions, beat the most champions. You know, got the most money for beating the most champions. So it's just like, man, he had this guy.
On the other side of the argument, Crawford's resume may not be as long, but the mindset behind his fights tells a different story. He showed little concern for timing, taking on Sean Porter while Porter was still considered a difficult challenge for anyone, breaking down Errol Spence at the age of 35, and then surprising many by successfully dealing with Canelo Alvarez at super middleweight. Crawford's issue was never a lack of willingness to fight, but rather that promoters and television networks often stayed away from him, and as a high-risk, low-reward fighter during his time with Top Rank, he spent years chasing major opportunities that never came, so when the Spence fight finally happened, he was already deep into his 30s.
Already know, we knew Crawford is a great fighter, and I did what I supposed to do, right? I tried for every way, and I trained really hard, and he deserved all the credit. No, I try my best tonight, and I just cannot figure out the style.
Was it something specific, the movement or his speed?
Now at 38 years old, Crawford stands undefeated at 42-0 with undisputed championships across 3 weight classes and a list of notable wins that includes Gamboa, Postal, Jeff Horn, Porter, Spence, and Alvarez. But when placed next to Mayweather's perfect 50, the numbers still favor Floyd. 8 fewer victories may not sound dramatic, yet in legacy discussions, every fight adds weight. Even so, Crawford holds one advantage Floyd never pursued, the willingness to climb into a 6th weight division. If he drops back to middleweight and captures a title, he would accomplish something Mayweather never tried, as Floyd's run stopped at 154. While Mayweather made undeniable history there, he never chased 6 divisions, and Crawford's drive to continually seek bigger, riskier challenges could ultimately be the factor that reshapes how this entire debate is viewed.
Floyd had a lot of craft that mimicked some of the things that Sugar Ray did. So does Terence. And Terence is psychologically a latter-day Sugar Ray Robinson. He has the same kind of capacity to be charming and then in the next 30 seconds to turn on his fire. And that, I think, is part of what he's going to take into the ring against Canelo.
The timing of their careers adds another layer to the debate. Crawford captured his first world title in 2014, just a year before Floyd concluded his career by defeating Pacquiao and then Andre Berto. While their eras overlapped briefly, the opportunity for a matchup was limited, and by that point, Mayweather was focused on protecting his legacy rather than seeking new challenges. On Stephen A. Smith's show, Floyd made it clear that if a fight were ever going to happen, it would have occurred when the financial stakes and public interest were at their peak, and that window has long passed. Crawford's victories today, no matter how impressive, cannot retroactively bring Floyd back into the ring.
Funny thing about it is Terence has been the only other guy that people can say he always figures it out.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, that's true. But you gotta have an OG somewhere.
Anybody else? Yeah,
there's an OG somewhere.
Somebody gotta pioneer, right?
Yeah, you gotta. There's an OG you can't out-figure out somewhere, and I just believe Floyd is that OG you can't out-figure.
That hasn't stopped fans from picturing the hypothetical showdown. Mayweather at 147 was a defensive genius, extremely difficult to hit cleanly and capable of systematically breaking down opponents over the course of a fight, going 12-0 at welterweight from ages 28 to 38 and dominating the division for a decade. Crawford at the same weight brought a different style, more explosive, a switch hitter with knockout power and a natural aggression, going 8-0 over 5 years and finishing most opponents decisively. He also has the advantage of height, reach, and versatility in both stance and approach, making the imagined matchup a compelling clash of contrasting styles.
But were you surprised that, Crawford wasn't running from him? He was very confident that he could stand there and trade, a lot of times with Canelo.
Crawford fought a brilliant fight. He fought a brilliant fight. He stayed at the right range. He didn't engage with Canelo when Canelo was trying to get him to engage with him. And he took control of the fight. He did what he wanted to do.
In a hypothetical matchup, Crawford's combination of size and aggression would have challenged Floyd's defense in ways few opponents ever managed. Fans often liken it to the trouble Floyd faced with Paul Williams, another tall, high-volume welterweight, which partly explains why that fight never came to fruition. Adding Crawford's adaptability and southpaw power into the mix makes it easy to understand why many believe Floyd could have finally been forced to truly fight to preserve his perfect record.
Since Bud's so strong, that's what I said. Why are you talking about 54? None of them dudes gonna get you up. If you truly beat Canelo, why not be the greatest fighter in the existence of boxing? Like, Bivol was the only dude to beat 2 undisputed active champions. Like, he beat Canelo as an undisputed champion, and he beat Better Beef as an undisputed champion. Bivol historically might go down as one of the greatest to ever do it. If you beat Bivol and you beat Canelo, I mean, Crawford might have surpassed TBE.
Mayweather's supporters argue that his style was perfectly designed to neutralize aggression. He wasn't just fast and elusive, he was efficient, landing only the punches that mattered and making opponents miss far more than they connected. Against someone like Crawford, who thrives on shifting momentum, Floyd might have used the same tactics that gave him success against Canelo in 2013 or stifled Ricky Hatton's pressure in 2007. There's also the question of controlling the stage. Floyd was the pay-per-view king, able to dominate entire weekends with his bouts, whereas Crawford never reached that level, even after defeating Spence and Canelo. Floyd's influence extended beyond skill to dictating when, where, and how fights occurred, something Crawford, despite his talent, never commanded. But if this fight ever happened, who do you think would come out on top? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for more updates.